All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Greater Columbus Sports Commission's very first virtual sports report. I'm Linda Logan, Executive Director of the Sports Commission, and I'll be your host today. We're celebrating opening day today, which is one of my favorite days of the year. I'm a huge baseball fan, as many of you know, and so happy to share the program today with a good colleague and friend, Ken Schnacke, President and General Manager of the Columbus Clippers, also a board member, the Sports Commission. And Ken, it's raining today, so but we're happy to have you here. And first and foremost, how are you doing? How's your family? How's the staff? How's everybody doing?
Well, everyone's hanging in there. We're dealing with everything just like everybody else in the city, the state, and the world. So we're just trying to find some kind of new normal that we can live by every day. And it does feel like every day's Groundhog Day, that Bill Murray movie. It doesn't change much from day to day, but this is something I don't think any of us ever thought we'd experience in our lifetime. So we're just trying to go along and keep spirits up and keep all of our employees employed and just do the best we can like everybody else is.
Yep, that's a great attitude to have. And I should say for all of our viewers today, you do have the option to ask Ken and I questions. There's a chat button there, and we'll probably hold the questions to the end of our segment. But maybe we'll just jump right in, Ken. I know that you're the one that's really at the stadium. The rest of us are sort of at our ballpark. And we can see that you're there, and lots of changes happening through the off season at Huntington Park. Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I got a lot of things we'd like to show off. I just hope sometime during this calendar year we'll have the opportunity to do that. We've added onto our scoreboard. We added 12 additional feet height of video. So it's really amazing. It looks like a huge IMAX screen at Huntington Park. And it turns out we now have the second largest square footage scoreboard in the country, only behind the new ballpark that opened last year in Las Vegas. We've also gone ahead and changed all of our stadium lighting that lights the field to the new LED technology through Musco. So we now have the ability, we will have the ability to turn the lights off and on immediately. We can add color, we can incorporate it into home run celebrations. We can time it up with some of the fireworks shows. We can highlight some of the sponsors between innings by tinting the colors of their logo. So that's really neat. And then third and finally, we've extended all the netting all the way down to the foul poles throughout the ballpark with all the safety issues that everyone's addressing. And we were able to do that without putting up any cumbersome posts. So it took a while engineering wise to figure this out with just tensile cable, but really proud of that. It really looks good. It's all the brand new netting. You hardly even notice it's there. And it's gonna, when we get back to playing baseball, a very much needed factor of safety for all the fans.
I love Huntington Park, and for those that are tuning in that maybe don't know about the ballpark, it's owned by the community, really, our county, and very special. So to be able to add these added touches, I know the team has been successful, has won a lot of awards over the years, so the capital improvements that you're doing will pay off in the long run for generations to come. So tell us a little bit more about kind of how you're handling this with the staff, the players. What's the attitude with everyone right now? I think the players are all at home right now.
Yeah, well, first of all, one of the attitudes would be severe disappointment because tonight, in pregame, we would have celebrated last year's 11th Governor's Cup championship. We would have handed out to the players all their championship rings. So, they are straining at the bit to get these, but I'm going to hold off on these until we get a little farther in and see if we're going to be able to play baseball. But yeah, the players are at home. They're working out on their own. That's never the same as working out in a group with your compadres and playing the game at a higher level. So if we ever do overcome this and we can start to see that sports is in the future sometime this year, the players will have to report to Arizona for probably 2 to 4 weeks of getting their bodies back in shape for the grind of playing any games at all. So, they're in the middle of doing that. Our staff, we do not have really anybody in here other than one or two coming in a couple times a week to check on some of the things and check on the mail and being able to interact with our sponsors and our ticket holders. So the ballpark's a very quiet place these days. The players are all at home. They're all removed. And we're just waiting to see how the country handles this virus and if we can get it under control.
So really, in minor league baseball, you'll follow the league of the Major League Baseball, and obviously being an Indians affiliate there. Can you talk through maybe some of the conversations that you're having right now?
Well, even all the major league players are at home. So, I mean, what will have to happen is once the virus is under control to the point where the governors of the state and the president allow some gatherings to hold, then the players would all head out to Arizona. They would reopen the Indians complex at Goodyear, and then the players would start working out, and then they'd figure out a starting date for Major League Baseball. And then the Clippers would start within 3 or 4 days of their starting dates. So, right now all the talk is if we can get back on the field, if the virus is under control, letting baseball play later into the year than we have in the past. And that also would certainly include the Clippers playing longer beyond Labor Day than we usually do.
Talk a little bit about the team on the field. I know, being a huge Indians fan, we get to see a lot of those players come and go throughout the year. What were you looking forward to this year as far as the talent goes?
Well, the talent's going to be good. I mean, Bobby Bradley has been optioned back. He would be at first base for us. Yu Chang will be coming back. Ernie Clement, who had a great freshman season, rookie year with us last year in our infield. Kai Tom will be back in the outfield. He came up from Double-A and was just a great resource for us. And Bradley Zimmer has been reassigned to the Clippers because he just has to get in shape. He just hasn't played a lot because of the injuries. The Indians recently sent down Aaron Savali and Zach Plesac, so our starting pitching will be very strong too. The weakest point we have right now is catching, with Eric Haas being traded to the Tigers and the Indians counting on their catching. We've got to go out and get a couple minor league guys to come in and catch for Columbus. So that's still to happen because we didn't get far enough underway in spring training.
Okay. Well, I know that we're all, wondering about what happens next. Without sports being played, you've seen a lot of athletes doing wonderful things for their charities. I'm sure that's been very uplifting, not only to see locally, but from around the country. Do you have any stories to tell with regard to any of your players or the Indians or what you've been seeing?
No, the Indian players, those that live in the Cleveland area, have been pitching in, doing a lot of stuff. Some of our players are just helping out at home immediately with their needs. I think one of the neatest things I've seen nationally is Justin Verlander of the Astros donating his complete salary at this point in time to helping out in the Houston area. So there are some really neat stories happening in the world of sports. The players, those major leaguers that are making a little bit of money, they are pitching in and helping out to their communities. And that's really nice to see at a time like this.
Well, believe it or not, Ken, we're already to the question and answer section of our program. So I'm going to see what kind of questions, I think Jen may pop in with some of our questions.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm playing game host this morning. So thanks for Ken and Linda for joining us. Our first question is for both of you. Do you have a favorite Clippers moment from Huntington Park?
I think Ken should go first.
Oh man, there's quite a few of them. We've been fortunate since we opened Huntington Park and affiliated with the Indians to have won 4 Governor's Cups in the last 11 years. I think one of the neat moments was when we went ahead and opened the doors and let everyone free for the playoffs in 2010 and 11 and had all those capacity crowds. And it really spurned our club to turn us around and win those. And one of the great moments of one of those playoff series was Tyler Holt's over-the-shoulder catch running into the center field fence that allowed us to hold on and beat Indianapolis in one of the games. There's been some big moments with some big home runs hit, and some big crowds. It was obviously special the day we opened the ballpark with all the anticipation. So I don't really have one moment, but these key moments where that we've had the crowds here and they've enjoyed the games and the players have performed very well have been some of the fun things that we've enjoyed. Justin Germano's no-hitter was a big moment in Clippers history. So there are more than a few. Linda?
Well, yes, I think, Ken, you and I were business partners on bringing the the Big Ten baseball tournament to Columbus right when the ballpark opened. And it was the first time that they went to a neutral site. And I remember Ohio State was a #1 seed on whatever that was that Friday night where they were playing. And it was a big game and we got a big the turnstiles were busy. And that's one of my favorite moments because it was something that we brought to the community. And that's one of my favorite moments.
Great. Our next question is from Joy. She says, what are the costs, if you can share, associated with the new improvements to Huntington Park?
Those 3 improvement programs cost about $1.2 million. We had budgeted for those that were well underway. When all this hit with the virus, we were not in a position to stop them, and we needed to do them anyhow. So that's going to be an investment that's going to be well worth the effort, as Linda referred to, once we're able to open the gates and welcome fans here.
Great, thank you, Ken. The next one is also for Ken. With the new extended nets, it seems there may be less player-fan interaction. Are there any fun ways you have planned to increase interaction?
Well, I don't know what they mean by fun player interaction. We have a number of people that it just relates to them flipping the balls up into the stands. And the players will be able to do that. It'll just be the nets will be higher. We do have to put where all the gates are onto the field, we have to put some lift netting in so you can lift up in case we have to access the field. So the players won't be entirely separated from the fans, but it's more an issue of the safety of the fans. In today's day and age with social networking and cell phones and taking selfies and everything going on, and the fact that the ballparks, we get closer, for the fans to get closer to the action, the players get bigger and stronger. You know, these baseballs coming off bats have exit velocities of over 100 miles an hour. So the safety of the fans is first and foremost, and we'll work the other things out. Things will develop that will allow the players and the fans to interact, maybe not quite as much as they did in the past as far as touching and shaking hands, but I think that's part of our society that's going to change coming out of what we're going through too.
Yeah, I think you're so right. I do want to intro the next section of our program with some personal preferences, if you will. My family has done an opening day party for many, many decades, and it's a part of our tradition. You know, and the food is the best part of that party. We shop together and we really find great ways to celebrate, whether it's hot dogs and Cracker Jack. And so I'm looking forward to learning a few things to do from home today. So with us, our next guest actually is Kayla Tukes, who is the executive chef at Huntington Park and works for Levy. And we're going to be in her kitchen. So welcome, Kayla, and maybe you can share some tips for the rest of us.
Hi, everybody. I'm the executive chef at Huntington Park, and I'm a little bit sad that I can't make this at the ballpark kitchen, but everybody can do some of the things I'm going to show you today. One of our best sellers at the park is our Clipper Ship nachos. It usually weighs about 5 pounds if you were to put it on a scale, but I'm not going to make that big of a nacho. It's only 2 of us that live here with me, so that would be a lot. So what you want to do is you want to start with some tortilla chips or nacho chips, if you will. See if I can switch my camera over. There we go. Oh. So I have some chips right here, and then you can use any kind of protein you want, whether it be chicken or beef or beans if you're vegetarian. So what you're going to do is add some of this chicken onto your tortilla chips. You want to add some nacho cheese onto the top. This can be bought in the canned food aisle or in the dairy aisle. You want to place it in a microwave safe bowl, or you can warm it up on the stovetop, whichever you prefer. We have fresh corn salsa. You can use canned or frozen corn, some cilantro, some roasted red peppers, diced onion, and I like to spice mine up with a little bit of habanero peppers, but it's completely up to you. You want to use some mild tomato salsa. Sliced black olives. Sliced jalapenos. And you can top that with sour cream. Some people also like to add more refried beans on the bottom. And there you go. Final product of Clipper Ship nachos.
All right, looks great.
Then, if
You've been
you
up
are
early.
really in the mood for something from a ballpark, we always like to have popcorn, and a lot of people like to have caramel corn. So with that said, I will do a small demonstration of how to make caramel corn. What you want to do is you want to have some popcorn already popped and lay it out on a sheet tray, maybe with some parchment paper so that it can cool down. You want to warm up a saucepan and measure out 1 cup of butter and begin melting that in your saucepan. I recommend using a rubber spatula. That way, once you get to the sticky part of the recipe, it's easily stirred and you don't have to
clean up a little better, huh?
Right, exactly. I do want to put a tip in there that you want to be extremely careful. You are making caramel, and you just want to take a lot of precaution, as caramel burns are not fun to get.
How did you learn to cook?
So I learned how to cook when I was really young. I spent a lot of time with my great aunt. And at first it was just eggs. And then when I moved to high school, I started baking a whole lot. And a lot of people, is not a fun nickname, but they call me Cupcake Kayla now, because I started baking a lot of cupcakes. And then from there, I decided I wanted to go to culinary school, and they just helped teach me the basics of cooking. And now I just love to do it.
That's great.
Now that that is melting, you want to add in a cup of light brown sugar. And once you add that in, you want to mix it until it is completely mixed. You don't want to see too much of the butter anymore.
So what we'll have to do is provide these recipes in our
Absolutely.
link.
This is a super fast recipe. It only takes about 10 minutes. This is something that's really fun if you have children, if you're about to do a movie night with them, or if you wanted to watch past pre-recorded baseball games. That's something that you could do.
We're all trying to find our favorite baseball movies right now too.
Oh yeah. As this is combining, you want to make sure that you have some vanilla set aside. I have 2 teaspoons of vanilla already measured out. You want to go ahead and add that in as well. Give that another stir. Also want to make sure that you have your heat on medium. And then you want to also have a teaspoon of baking soda measured out. Once we allow this to come to a slight boil, you're going to add that in, and it's going to do a little bit of a fizz. That chemical reaction is supposed to happen, so don't be alarmed. And it's going to turn your caramel a slightly lighter color, and that's totally okay. You want that to happen. So now that it is at a boil, I'm going to go ahead and add my teaspoon of baking soda. Now, I don't know if you can hear it, but now it's starting to do that fizz that I was referring to. And of course, the color is turning a little bit lighter. And then I'm just going to allow that to boil for a few more seconds. Again, during this process, you want to be extremely careful because this is going to be very hot. I'm going to turn my heat off, bring my pot of caramel over to my popcorn, and just pour it right over the top. And this is where, you know, your sous chefs at home can help, because this part can get just a little bit messy. You want to make sure that you have that rubber spatula handy and give it just a light toss so that all of the kernels are covered. And you want to allow this to cool completely, again, because that caramel is very hot. And you'll be able to get a final product of nice caramel corn.
Wonderful. Wow, thank you so much. I think we learned a lot today. I must admit, I've been watching a lot of cooking shows lately, so a great combination of sports and cooking today. So thank you, Kayla, so much.
You're welcome.
We'll get those recipes from you.
Of
I guess
course.
anything else you'd like to add?
No, I hope that I'm able to see a whole lot of these pictures, maybe even on social media or on the Clippers Facebook page if you do try them at home, but have fun with it.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. I think, Jen, we had a couple of questions just that we'll finish with here and send everybody back to the rest of their day.
Yes, Linda, just two more questions that came in. The Clippers announced a new manager early this year. Ken, what can we expect from him in his new leadership this season?
Well, Andy Tracy, who lives here in Lewis Center, has been in professional baseball for many years. And last year he was our hitting coach. So this will be an easy transition for us. The players really enjoyed him as their hitting instructor. No doubt that they'll enjoy having him as a manager. So, you know, he follows in the footsteps of Tony Mansolino, who won the Governor's Cup last year, and Chris Tremy before him, who also won some Governor's Cups, and Mike Sarbaugh before him. So the players will like him. The fans will like him. He'll be very visible because he lives in Lewis Center. And nice to have someone from Central Ohio heading up the Clippers on the field.
Great. And one more for you, Ken. Do you think the idea of starting the season in May with teams basically quarantined and all playing in Arizona is a good one?
No, it's not a good idea. And it's people are just throwing stuff on the wall, trying to see what might work. There's too many hazards in that. It's just really not very functional. And I think you'll see that play out here in the next week or two. You know, we're just sitting around and we're just trying to visualize what could happen, and people come up with crazy ideas, and Sometimes they work, but that one's a little bit of a stretch. It's really, really too hard to pull off and too hard with everything going on in the country to see that as being viable. Now, hey, Linda, I got something for you. Next, when you talk about baseball movies, are you familiar with the movie For the Love of the Game?
Yes.
With Kevin Costner as the washed-up Detroit Tiger pitcher who's trying to hang on.
Yeah, but I don't think I've watched that one in a long time, so that would be a good one.
When you watch it, his double in the movie is former Clipper pitcher Dave Island.
Okay.
And there's an infielder that shows up in the movie who is former Clippers manager and currently the Indians' third base coach, Mike Sarbaugh. So you and Will look for them a little bit when you watch that movie next time.
Okay, we definitely will do that one. We'll put that on our list. Well, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us. This is our first time to do it. I think technically we did pretty well, Ken, don't you think? And thanks to everybody that helped got us together.
Well, Jen was the game host. We were supposed to have a showcase, like make deals.
Like Clippers, should we raffle off some Clippers tickets next time? How about that?
Okay, we'll do that.
That'd be great. Well, I do want to just thank everybody. We're going to do this again next week with our friends from the crew. Same time, same place, if you will. So hopefully that you can join us again. And everybody out there, please be safe. And maybe we'll just start humming a little Take Me Out to the Ball Game as we end today. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.